Happy Saturday. So today we're just going to be going over briefly the development of the user experience or UX. I guess because apparently now UI isn't enough. But with this, we're really building out, I think, what we see not just the future for open source, but really how we see AI being used, uh, particularly within the education space, and I would even say with medicine, because the point of AI being able to amplify human intelligence is the fact that it can be personalized, the fact that different people are at different levels, work in different domains, and so it's not about some super AI, right? It's artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence, whatever you want to call it. But rather, it is the question of what is the most precise model aligned with the right capabilities to each of the domains. How can we personalize these agents, these advisors, these tools to be able to be the best instrument within the kit of each of our learners, educators, really every person. And so with this, I think the value comes to the fact that we can end up having, from an environmentally conscious standpoint, uh, relying on and really valuing the great work of companies, organizations that have taken models and developed them for that base foundation model, and then building tuning on top of that, as well as, of course, right, always looking for ways of how we can make really the right changes to a model, and even whatever part of the tuning process, training process, even start from bare bones scratch. But really, again, it's I think it's really great how much the community is just putting quality out there, and peer review is being received from millions of people simultaneously who are very quick to let you know if something is not to their liking. So we think of AI as, well, a lot of things, but I would welcome you to think of it as a buffet, right? And we think of everybody wants quality, though, right? You don't want to go to I'm not going to input any specific names here, but we all know of like a not super great buffet. So think of what we're going for as a Sushi-Go-Round, where you get what you want made to order, but it's quality. It's really that experience that you're looking for. And so with this, just going briefly here, again, this is running locally, free, working on, and it's running through what are called containerized applications. So as opposed to think of your program that is running on your computer, like, oh, I don't know, Civilization. That's a video game that a lot of people play. Or Zoom. Zoom is locally installed on your computer. If somebody was to hack into that, they wouldn't hack into all of Zoom, but they would hack into your specific computer, onto the files on that. So with, and there's always consideration for any, no matter what you do, there's always some level of risk. But the nice thing about containerized applications, so think of like these little virtual operating rooms, these little virtual practice areas, almost like Keanu Reeves from The Matrix when he and Morpheus were working in a virtual simulation. Think of a containerized application like that. So you can take the program that you typically would run that would be installed on your computer, and you can you can package it up, right, into, think of like a little box. So you can package it up and run that. And with that package, that container, That allows you to use less resources, and it also allows you to be able to have another layer of separation. And of course, right, you can make multiple copies of it and be able to turn it off, spin it up, deploy it to another location, because containerized applications are, if nothing else, they're fundamentally cloud native. And so you won't have to ask that question of, well, what operating system are you running? It's like, well, if you're able to if you're able to have the right program to run it, and so there are things like, I'll hear a lot of people say terms like Docker and Podman, and we're not going to get into that, but if you're able to, like, really all you need are those things to be able to run these containerized applications, and then you can run, right, whatever operating system, whatever widgets, whatever things you can run with these. So it's enough of me yammering here. Let's go into, let's see, let's try, Rose M. So, a multimodal medical advisor capable of answering questions on text, documents, or images given by the user. So, let's see. Let's try this. And a little bit of fun, right? As someone who has conscious hearing aids in, this is something I appreciate and wanting to flush out. But can you tell me what is happening in this image? So it took my verbal input, my voice, and it transcribed that into a question that then was applied to this image here of a fracture of the lower extremity. Oh, nope, stop. And for somebody who may be more wanting to or have visual difficulty, you can set this up where you can actually have it verbally speak to you as opposed to just text, which is absolutely fantastic for accessibility. So now with this, again, this is not intended to replace a clinician, and even this answer is not what you would expect from a radiographic report. This image, or this model, was also not trained or tuned specifically on medical data sets. It by itself is coming from a base foundation model, like from Microsoft's Phi 3, which is a smaller model, and really all that's been happening with this is compressing it, quantizing it, and then using it with this interface that then is able to, in real time, give feedback, and for $0. $0 for the input, $0 for the output, $0 for the hosting, $0 for the deployment. And so when we think about the user experience with AI, it's important not just that we are able to give a level of quality with the models, but it's also, we have to consider, what is it costing financially, energy-wise, which, yes, energy is a big part of the conversation, but also, right, I would encourage folks to consider 30 years ago how much energy was expended in, if you wanted to know something, you would physically drive down to the local library or to your local university, and how many emissions are coming from that, versus now you want to know something, you Google it or you Bing it. Now that you use an AI model, or right, and so consider the difference in terms of how much to get into your car, whatever it is, go over to where it is you were going to go, versus, again, now you just press a button and boop, here you go. So let's see, R4 is just a helpful medical advisor, so just text. But I have a rotation coming up at Johns Hopkins University for orthopedic surgery. How would you recommend I prepare for that? So again, while we're not necessarily implementing retrieval augmented generation here from the standpoint of specifically queuing to the outside world. Oh, come here, you. At the same time, that function, that tool is not difficult to implement. And so really the purpose of this, the big takeaway that I want to have with this is being able to understand really at that fundamental level that we can have models that can be run in a secure way. Right? So I'm running these again locally, but going to be connecting them to my custom domain, compass.ai. And we can take these models, have them be in a way that is user-friendly, that can not incur unduly a cost, particularly for folks who are just trying to get their feet wet and even just they want to know how to interact with the model, but they don't want to spend $20 a month for ChatGPT or any other services. And there are just so many to pick from that they're sort of this analysis paralysis. So I think that there's a good opportunity here, a great opportunity to be able to have something where there's a lighter lift on people being able to interact with models that are at that cutting edge and help them to remove the mysticism, remove the feeling that you're falling behind, and instead give them a safe, secure sandbox that really helps them to play and to understand what these models can do, what they can't do, and really each person develop their own, in the medical field we call it gestalt, or your own sense of what is quality and what is not. And that's not something that anybody can really decide for anybody else, but it's important that each person, right? We have experts in every domain, medical and otherwise, that can help curate that. But at the end of the day, it's really about helping people to be able to make their own decisions, to amplify their own intelligence, their own agency, their own just abilities, so they can pursue what they want to be able to pursue without having to pay an arm and a leg necessarily. So last little bit here, I'm going to go over a few more of the features with this. So the nice thing with this is that, right, so we implement what are called model files here. And so, oh, come here, you. So think of this as like the chat GPT or the custom GPT, excuse me. Very similar, and right, that's done with intention. So you can take a model like this and be able to have or give it instruction that then acts as that custom prompt at a system level or at a model level for it to be able to act then. Oh, come here, you. So same thing, except these ones, again, they can be different based off of their ability to be multimodal, or again, right, we think about multimodal as being able to take in multiple inputs, put out multiple inputs. So if modalities of data are genres of music, it can take in sheet music that was written by a country singer and sheet music that was written by an opera singer and put out music, actual like auditory output that is of a power metal variety and of a hip hop variety, because it's all data, it's all music, right? So data, modalities, musical genres, but the model is able to process input different types, output different types. And then we can put our different documents in here. And let's see, what was I think there was, put in the prompts. And then, come here, you. So then we can put in our settings and being able to use something like Llama under the hood for the purpose of what it is good for, of being able to take these larger models, compress them, and run them in a secure capacity, run them in these containers that can then also have customized models that then really can make these kinds of models accessible to folks. Right. And so again, we can, with all this, able to make all these different changes, which are going to be parsing down just a smidge, because some of them are, it's a little much for, we'll just say somebody who may not be necessarily super duper technical right off the bat. But, again, to me, I think it's pretty great just what we can do. And the fact that this is $0 right now to run this, to inference it, to do anything with it. And it has an embedding model in it from Hugging Face that's free to use, as well as a re-ranking model for that retrieval augmented generation. So again, but right now the main point of the user experience is not just, why I want to put this out, it's not just about the design, but rather it's, again, about the fact that you can have this setup where you're able to take in models, have an interface that is not just, something like this, that is not super duper, over the top, and ultimately is accessible without incurring humongous cost, financially, environmentally, whatever have you. And so I think, to me, when we think about user experience, that's really the trifecta, the goal, right? I'll leave it with, people typically would say you can have, good, fast, cheap, pick two. Well, how about all three? How about good, fast, and cheap? Because, well, we have technology. We don't have to spend $6 million necessarily in this iteration. And we're also not building a bionic man or bionic woman, but really exciting to be able to see where this is going and what these capabilities are, and continue building out here in the open to be able to showcase what's on my mind, and hopefully receive input, feedback, and if anybody's feeling in a particularly financially generous mood, investment. But this is very much what we'll be going for in terms of being able to have folks be able to, what's the one I'm looking for? Being able to have a setup comparable to this, for being able to have our own setup. So, because even you can, let's see, let's do Johnny Smith, then John Smith 2 at gmail.com. Boop, 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 boop. And then, so, even something as simple as having that authorization component where somebody can make an account, an admin can check on those things from that security standpoint. Again, these are all absolutely fantastic things. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this progresses. So, that being said, hopefully this was helpful, and I will see you in the next one.